Hi everyone, welcome to the No Money More Plants podcast, a podcast about a girl learning to take risks, grow plants, and eat her veggies. In this first season of the podcast, we're talking to creative entrepreneurs and inspirational women who have taken career pivots to pursue their passions. Our guest today is no stranger to the entrepreneurial world. She started her cold pressed juice business, Rawnchy, way back in her varsity days. Welcome, Vuyiswa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Mlebuheng.
Yay! Please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Vuyiswa Hlongwane. I am a 25-year-old entrepreneur from Joburg. Um, I am the founder of Rawnchy Cold Pressed, which is a business that I started way back in 2018 when I was still in varsity. So yeah, that's me.
Oh, nice. Um, I wanted to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
is there anyone in your family that is entrepreneurial like this, or is this something that's completely foreign to you guys?
Oh no, actually, yeah, my family. I come from a very entrepreneur. How do I say this?
That this word, it's like mattress, my spouse.
Yes. I come from like a family that's full of entrepreneurs. Let me say that. Um, so both my parents were entrepreneurs, but they were doing it as like side hustles while they still had their nine to
Mm,
fives. So I kind of grew up in an environment where I was exposed at a young age to, doing your own thing and making sure that you have multiple streams of income. So naturally, when you grow up in an environment like that and your parents are like that and your siblings are like that, you also start thinking of ways to make extra money if you have a little bit of time. So yeah, definitely come from a household that's set up like that.
oh, that's amazing. So is that what made you decide to go into this business?
Most definitely. Well, that and a couple of other things for this particular business. When I was in varsity, I would always try start different small businesses, like trying to get away to like, have extra money to do things with friends.
What were you needing this extra money for,
And
Visa?
you know what? Going
That's
out,
us
eating
isn't enough.
going out, eating out, wanting to explore the city. But obviously, you can't be asking your parents for money every week. Like, hey, this week I want to do this. Hey. So there was a point where I used to sell weaves in varsity. And then obviously that.
Wait, can you say that again?
Oh yeah, there was a point where I used to sell weaves, like weaves and yeah, like hair,
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so
Mm.
that kind of went well for a while, and then I think the person I was doing it with, my friend and I were just like we just got caught up in studies, so that kind of fell through. But then with this one,
Mm.
it's when I actually started falling in love with like healthy eating, and I was working out a lot more, and I was just a lot more conscious of what I was putting in my body and how my body felt after doing that. So it kind of, yes, I needed the extra money, but I also wanted people to kind of experience that because it wasn't something that was so popular. So yeah, that's kind of what influenced me getting into this business.
That is actually pretty cool. So, in terms of like the the business itself, you said you were doing your weed business with a friend.
hmm
With the cold press juicing business or the juice business, were you were you still with that friend, or did you decide to go off on your own?
So we actually that exact same friend and I wanted to do something together. We were both interested in kind of like holistic eating and keeping fit and all of that. But then she moved to Joburg while I remained in Cape Town. So it didn't quite work. That's when I decided that I think it's just easier and more practical for me to do this on my own. So with the juicing, I was completely by myself, um, pushing
So
it,
you were doing everything, like juicing,
everything, like
the marketing.
absolutely everything, like finding, like sourcing the packaging, finding the produce, like the fresh produce where to buy which is the cheapest one, which one, delivering it at, because I was selling it on campus at UCT, and I was also selling it at like what are these buildings called? Where there's like shared workspaces, those like creative.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you mean, but I just don't know the
Yeah, so
name.
like those,
But yeah.
yeah, those companies that kind of hold shared workspaces for like startups and stuff. So there was one that was in Greenpoint that was open to having my juices. So every single Monday and Wednesday, I'd have to wake up so early to start in Rondebosch, drop them off, then go to town, drop it off, then come back to Rondebosch to attend class. But yeah, I was doing everything myself.
So, so I'm thinking this is a whole production.
Literally one man production.
Wait, wait. So who would manage the money? Like, because obviously, like you were dropping them off, you were going back to class, right?
hmm
Who was taking you? Like, were they paying it? Like, was it like a honesty policy? How was it working?
So I think it actually was an honesty policy. Okay, so what would happen would be like if I arrive on Monday morning and I have 50 juices for UCT.
Mm,
Remember, these juices don't last more than 5 days. So what I
mm.
agreed to doing with the two different suppliers was that they would pay me for the number of juices sold, and everything else that was not sold within that week I take back, right? So I would
Yo,
drop them off, and
this
then
is so risk.
yeah, like so. So I dropped them off Mondays and Wednesdays. Obviously, Wednesdays I'd only drop them off if Monday to Wednesday there's no more stock. And then on
Mm.
Fridays, I'd kind of like do my collections. So I'd be like, okay, this week I'd put 50 juices or 80 juices. And they'd be like, okay, great. So remember, these were all cafeterias and cafes. So it's things that were constantly being bought. And then,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah, so it was like on the menu. And then yeah, if there was any leftovers, I'd take that. Most of the time, there'd be like two or three. So it wasn't too hectic. And then, yeah, I'd take my money, my cash money.
yeah. No, so this is brilliant. Like you went out, you approached people. Like honestly
Yeah.
speaking, I don't think li- lit- selling weaves you could sell to your friends, but approaching like whole cafeterias, like manage cafeteria managers, that is something really commendable and amazing to hear.
Thank
Especially
you.
thinking that you were in varsity still. Like what are we we're thinking like where we're gonna buy the next Mr. Price. When is Cubana opening? Like
That's
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 what
what
people are
that's what
thinking.
motivated it, right? So I'm
Yeah.
also thinking, I want the next this, and I think because I was a little bit older then, like it was my final year, I didn't really like, I didn't want to bother and burden my parents so much. So
Mm,
I was just like, how can I do this and get things done myself? Hey, like,
mm.
and I enjoyed it. I
Yo,
enjoyed the responses. So it was, yeah, I enjoyed it, man.
yeah. No, I also think like your market was very it wasn't at that stage, I think it wasn't ready, but it was very
hmm
receptive. If you
Definitely,
went
yeah.
now, I think like now people are so into like those what
It's
are
so
those
saturated
cycle
now.
short people are cycle
Cycle
shorting like
biker shorts.
I hate that biker short trend.
Yeah,
But
no.
anyway, people are doing that. Like people are really into like health and wellness and
Mm, mm.
yeah.
No, definitely. I think no, I was just agreeing with you that like at the time yeah, I fully agree. I don't think I would have done as well now as I did then because now it's so saturated. You find press juices everywhere you turn, you can find this, you can find shots, you can
Mm,
find, but at the time people wanted it, but it wasn't so easily accessible. And so it was just obviously it's like, oh yes, I've been wanting to try green juice. Oh yes, I've been wanting to try like taste what spinach and apple tastes like. Whereas now it's everywhere. At the time, yeah, you didn't really find it
mm. Like going on to what you've just said, if you could start your business again in 2021 and knowing like how the market is at the moment, how would you go about it? Would you change anything that you did back then?
everywhere. Oh, um, To be quite honest, I don't think I would change anything. Um, yeah, I actually didn't think of this. I don't think I'd change anything in terms of how I did things. I think I went and I approached literally the owners of places and been like, hey, this is my product. This is what I'd like for you to try. I hopped onto social media immediately. Like, there's nothing that I think I would change because I think maybe now the reception would be a little bit different. So maybe certain things like the logo and, what exactly I'm including in my product. Maybe I'd have to, add a few things or remove a few things. But in terms of how I went about it and how I started it and how, I found like how I had to find my own branding and how I had to figure things out on my own, I wouldn't change that. I think, yeah, maybe my product, I would expand on my products because obviously juices are something that are everywhere. So maybe I'd have to think of something else, like which is where I am now. It's like, okay, so what else can I do other than juices? But yeah, I think I'd still
No,
go
but
about it
I
the
think you
same.
did well. Like, I think in terms of business strategies, I think you did quite well. Um,
Thank
in
you.
the way that you targeted certain areas. Listen, I don't know nothing about business, but from what I can tell, I can tell, I think your strategies worked very well. Like, you targeted certain spots that you knew definitely people would be into that.
Mm.
Or that they would, and you, yeah, you went out like that. It's really, really amazing.
Thank you so
You should
much.
really be proud of the work that you've done. Yeah.
Thank
How has
you.
the change from being a student to becoming like a young working professional
Hmm.
affected the business? Has it changed the business in
Um,
any way?
it has, in both good and bad ways. I think that when I was a student, I had a lot more time. And when you're a student, like your days are a little bit more flexible. You can have a class at 8, then have a gap till 12, then you know what I mean. But when you're working from literally from 8 to 4, you're working. So um, when the turnaround time, I could say for delivering products was a lot quicker when I was in varsity. A person could be like, "Hey, I want an order of this amount of juices or whatever at this particular time, and I could deliver same day. Whereas now I will obviously need a day. Like I'll be like, okay, no problem, I can give it to you tomorrow morning,
Mm,
tomorrow afternoon. So that's definitely time. Yeah, the time that I had then and now has definitely contributed, I suppose, negatively towards it. But I think having a standard 9 to 5 has also been good because now I can invest more in the business. Um, if I
mm,
can't do something myself, then I can get somebody to do it for me. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, so I think the financial, like being able to
mm,
financially assist with the business where if I feel like it needs to grow a little bit, or if I need to be at more than one place at the same time, I have two young girls. They're like family friends who are studying. So I would literally like
mm,
I started going around town when I moved to Joburg and had a job. I would go around with them, and if I can't do something, I'd be like, "Hey, I really need you guys to be here to be selling to these particular people, or there's a wellness day. I need you guys to be there." So I think that's
mm.
maybe the positive from then and now.
No, I think that's great because I think many people don't realize that entrepreneurship is not necessarily just about you making money.
Mm,
It's about how you can actually employ others and contribute towards other people's, livelihoods.
most
So it's
definitely,
cool
yeah.
that you can actually do that. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
With
definitely.
the way with working. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Um when you started working, did you feel the need to hide your side hustle? Because I feel very like I would feel very shy to be like, yeah, in those interviews, like, what are your other interests? Or is this something that you just blast on your CV and because it's something really to be proud of? But
Yeah.
yeah,
I,
never.
I
Some people have weird
I get that.
hobbies.
And some companies aren't really like accepting, right? Like they aren't really open to their employees having that. But no, I mean I think you know this. I talk a lot. And so I'm quite an open
Yeah,
book. So
it will come out.
Yeah, like so Emma, I remember actually when I interviewed for this job, like they asked me like, so are there other interests? And I'm like, yeah, actually, I'm a business owner. While I'm unemployed, I need a way to make money and stuff. And I told them,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I think I think it was good for me to be honest from day one, because after that my boss or team leader was just very accepting of that. Like, he was like, Vuyiswa, you must, come go to the cafeteria down here at the office. Like ask them if you can supply them, bring us you like he encouraged it a lot. So I think it really did
Mm,
help versus if I was like, oh no, I don't think I should declare that, like, you know, I have a side hustle. I was honest. I
yeah.
was like, I haven't been working, and this is how I've been making my income. But I'd love to work. But I don't think I want to stop this as well. But yeah, so they received it very well.
Hmm. That's actually amazing. I feel like also it showed them I could now on the CVs they'll say self must be a self starter.
Yeah.
Must be like these are the things on these job adverts that you are ticking the right boxes.
No, for
So
sure.
it's actually cool.
No,
Mm.
I agree. I think I'm glad I said it so that they knew.
Mm.
Yeah.
But what are some jobs now? This is just random. But what are some things that people should actually be hiding on CVs? Just an advice now, advice to other people.
Ooh. Ooh, what can you hide, guys? There are certain things that it's like, no, no, no. Um, you know what? Actually, that's a tricky question. Me being me, I would say don't hide anything. But I know that there's something that
Yeah, no, work.
there are some things that
Yeah,
like
you
ish
can't.
guys don't say this. But I can't even think of them because me being me, I'd be like, hey, like if that's what you I would
Yeah, it
not.
doesn't really matter. Like I'm also the same, but I know that there's some people who are like, can't be telling my business everywhere. So
Yeah,
I
like
respect that.
and I don't know. I think I am hoping that companies will start being less rigid to their
Mm,
employees having other like side hustles, like trying to like increase their streams of income. I'm hoping that with the
mm,
pandemic and with seeing how, literally fickle your job is, there will be a little bit more understanding to people having other interests and exploring other ways of generating income, as long as it doesn't affect, of course, the the work that you're supposed to be doing, or the time that you're supposed to be putting into the company. I'm hoping that people will be more accepting of it, of side hustles, and yeah, guys, we need to live. We need to figure out a way
No, we
to,
do.
yeah. So I don't know what I'd say.
So what do you think about the side hustle culture now that everyone sort of feels forced to have a side hustle or to like
Mm,
I've
mm.
there's a YouTube channel that I watched where like these girls are like I've got three businesses and I'm working this and you're like whoa.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on the side hustle culture that's being sort of forced on us? Do you feel like it's forced or do you what are your
um,
thoughts?
in a way, I do actually feel like it's forced. I do think that side hustles are trending now, for lack of a better word.
Mm,
That people are like, you can't just limit yourself, especially with this being a woman, these chads, being a woman, you can't rely on one form of income, you can't rely on this and that. And I understand that it's coming from a good place, and it's encouraging people to, to tap into their interest or to tap into different things. But some people aren't like that. Some people enjoy having like I don't want to say
stability.
stability. Yeah, I don't want to say stability, but stability. Some people like, yeah, post my 9 to 5. Afterwards, I come home, I cook, or I go to gym, or whatever. I pray, I sing, whatever. You know.
Mm,
So I don't like the force that comes with it, but I can understand. I do understand that it's like trying to encourage people to, expand. I don't want to say they're thinking, but like this, yeah, increase their different streams of income. So overall,
mm,
yeah, I don't think it's bad, but I also know that it can be a little bit invasive and a little bit too much.
Mm. And it can be exhausting. I think
Most
people aren't
definitely.
resting enough in general. Like
Mm,
mental health is such a hectic thing now, but people are just like, okay, I gotta achieve. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? So
exactly.
it
No,
can
that's
get.
that's so
Mm.
true.
Mm. Okay, Brisa, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh, we're done.
Do you listen to? Yeah, we're done.
Oh,
Do you listen to
guys,
any podcast?
I enjoyed you guys. um,
Yay!
um,
Do you listen to any podcasts?
I do actually. So I love Super Soul by Oprah.
Ooh, what's Super Soul?
Oh, so
Oh,
by Oprah
guys, I
Winfrey.
don't know. I don't
Come
know.
on! Oh, look, it's such
I
a
actually,
huh?
I actually haven't listened to Super Soul. I haven't listened, and I should before I give a
Please.
review.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I'm gonna listen. Thank
Maybe,
you.
let me know,
Okay,
like,
what other podcasts do you?
I also like the Goop podcast by Gwyneth Paltrow. So they speak a
Oh.
lot about like also holistic living and just it's more like understanding yourself, mind, body, soul
Mm,
type of a thing. What else do I like? I like the Gold Standard. So it's by a girl called Lene. So it also speaks about, a young woman discovering your passions,
mm.
exploring your passions, starting businesses, starting side hustles whilst working. Yeah, so those are I'd say like my top three. But yeah, I listen quite a lot. Like I listen to over like 12 podcast channels. So
Wow. No,
definitely
do you
adding
find
them.
like I find it very therapeutic, and I feel like I'm not consuming junk. Like,
Most
and I know it
definitely.
probably is junk to somebody else, but yeah, I feel like when I listen to a podcast, I feel like I've learned something. I've
Most
taken away.
definitely.
Yeah.
You will, yeah,
Like,
you like it's like it almost feels like you're in the room with those people, right? Because it's usually a conversation between two or three people talking about a particular subject, and like it's just clear, concise, straight to the point. You get what them, I also enjoy them for sure.
mm, love it. Please pimp yourself out. Where can people find you? What's next for Raunchy?
Okay, so people can find, well, let me say Rawnchy. We do have an Instagram page called Rawnchy Cold Press. You guys should check us out. Personally, I'm not too active on social media, so I mean, you guys can try follow me, V underscore Hlongwane, but yeah, I'm not too active. And in terms of
Mm,
what's next for Raunchy, definitely more products. I'm hoping that the situation with COVID will ease down a little bit and we can start going out into marketplaces and stuff again. But definitely more products. I don't know if I should like say the products, but I'm
if
just
you want to, you can.
oh, okay, yeah. No, I definitely want to expand the brand. Want to get into waters like sparkling waters like with like raw fruits infused in them,
Ooh, yeah.
popsicles. Yeah, like so there's just a whole lot of different and carbonated fresh juices. I'm still exploring that
Ooh, that's
idea,
really.
but I think it would be
Mm,
cool to have like a carbonated green juice. So
mm.
yeah, that's what's next. I hope everything works out.
It will. It will. It sounds amazing. By the way, are there even markets in Johannesburg? Like, let's not talk about.
Guys, we used to
Uh-uh.
have always markets, they took it away or it moved.
I know that place is a bit, in terms of market spaces. I'm not talking about like what's this? What's the thing in Maboneng? No, in terms of
Never
markets,
good.
Joburg is lacking. Yo
You
yo
know
yo
what,
yo
guys?
yo.
This is true. I won't lie because I know how Cape Town is, and that the culture that side. It's yeah, Joburg needs to up its game, but there are markets.
Yo, and the thing is, they people get so excited about like you get
Please
to be
don't
like
judge us. Please
these.
don't judge us.
Listen, I'm from the Free State. I can't say anything. We don't like, but
Precious.
all I'm saying is maybe Ronchi should branch into eventually a proper market in Johannesburg.
That's what
That would be
we
amazing.
need to find one. You know what I mean? We need to
Yeah.
have a solid like market. And it's quite hard
Yeah,
to
no.
honestly infiltrate the market space here. I won't lie. I've tried. It's really, really hard. The waiting lists are like ridiculous to get a stall or
Really?
a stand anyway. Yeah, like it's crazy. So I think
It
maybe it
means
means
that people are actually being like they pass their bets, like they're doing business,
mm,
which
mm, mm. But it also means more markets must come up, right? Like, I mean, if there's
yeah.
not enough space, like let's
No,
more
let's
markets.
talk. Anyone who's listening, who has money, who has a space,
Yes, guys, hit me
yeah,
up,
go for
like,
it.
yeah, like hit me up. I would love to get involved with you, and your market space.
Mm.
So yeah.
Oh, thanks, Vuyiswa.
Thank you for listening. If you found this podcast helpful, please remember to like and share it. See you in the next one.